Hey there, 5-6. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful forces on the earth. It's saying to someone, you wronged me and maybe you don't even care, but I still forgive you. How much greater is God's forgiveness of us? Let's take one more look at the life of Joseph and see what we can learn about forgiveness. Our scripture reading for today comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 45, verses 1 through 15. Joseph could stand it no longer. There were many people in the room, and he said to his attendants, "Out, all of you." So he was alone with his brothers when he told them who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loudly the Egyptians could hear him, and word of it quickly carried to Pharaoh's palace. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were speechless. They were stunned to realize that Joseph was standing there in front of him. "Please come closer," he said to them. So they came closer, and he said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. This famine that has ravaged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years, and there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive and to preserve many survivors. So it was God who sent me here, not you. And he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace and the governor of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and tell him this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me master over all the land of Egypt, so come down to me immediately. You can live in the region of Goshen, where you can be near me with all of your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and everything you own. I will take care of you there, for there are still 5 years of famine ahead of us. Otherwise, you, your household, and all your animals will starve." Then Joseph added, "Look, you can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that I really am Joseph. Go tell my father of my honored position here in Egypt. Describe for him everything you have seen, and then bring my father here quickly." Weeping with joy, he embraced Benjamin, and Benjamin did the same. Then Joseph kissed each of his brothers and wept over them, and after that they began talking freely with him. So let's launch into Joseph's epic story of sweet, sweet revenge. That brings me to my first point. You don't have to forget what has happened before. We are human beings, and it's okay to stay mindful of things that have happened to us in the past. If someone constantly lies to us, it would be good for us to remember that and be cautious about believing that person in the future. Joseph certainly remembered what his brothers had done to him. That brings me to my next point. Be merciful just as God is merciful with you. Think of the incredible restraint it took for Joseph to show grace to his brothers. They came begging to him, starving and desperate. In the world's eyes, they were about to get what was coming to them. But in God's eyes, they were no different from any of us, sinners in need of grace. That brings me to my next point. Trust God for the outcome. Slavery, false accusations, jail, being forgotten in jail, and forced to be away from his country and family he loved, Joseph had been through it all. He never stopped trusting God, and in the end, that trust gave him an opportunity to show God's love. It also made him one of the most powerful men in all of Egypt, a man who was able to bring his family down to Egypt and away from the famine in their homeland. That's all I got for today, 5-6. See you again soon.